You know, it was funny after our Feel Good Friday episode yesterday, the fact we talked about the different ways the mainstream media is operating and how our current government is leveraging them to promote themselves and silence the opposition. And we've been seeing it in a variety of different ways, and it can be frustrating, it is annoying, and knowing that we are fighting an uphill battle. But my friends, it is a fight that's worth having. It's worth trying to maintain our independence, maintain our sovereignty, and maintain what we are currently doing here as Canadians. What this Trudeau government has turned our country into the past 10 years is not who we are. But we can get it back. It's just going to take a little bit of effort and just a little bit of courage. And speaking of courage, and speaking of speaking out and speaking against the establishment media, Andrew Scheer did that just yesterday. As the Conservatives are kind of filing in and out of their meeting rooms yesterday, the media is just standing there hoping to get a soundbite, hoping someone would talk to them. And you know what? Andrew Scheer did just that. But before we get into that, a couple things I want to address. First off, we as a show do take one-time contributions, which is something we don't tend to highlight. We don't really like talking about it because we just like doing this for you. And the fact you give us your attention means the world. But people have been giving us one-time donations, so we wanted to take the time to shout those out. So we want to shout out Carolyn for dropping a $10 donation on us yesterday. It really means a lot. The fact you see value to give us your time and your attention, let alone taking money out of your own pocket to hand to us to keep doing what we do, really does mean a lot. And quite frankly, we're humbled by that. So thank you so much, Carolyn. Really appreciate taking the time to watch our stuff, let alone take money out of budget that could be feeding your family, feeding yourself, and then giving it to us so that we can continue doing what we do. It means a lot. So thank you. And secondly, we got a few emails yesterday. Saw a few comments in the comment section addressing our segment yesterday talking about Google hiding results, specifically on the issue of Guilbeault canceling the refinery project in Kitimat, BC. And admittedly, this story is getting weirder by the minute. So got a few emails and got a few messages in the comments too saying, Josh, we're researching. We literally put that exact same keyword or key term into Google and the stories are populating. Are you lying to us? Are you trying to pull something over on us? And I'm like, that's odd because it's still not showing up for me. However, it's now populating on my mobile devices. So I'll show you what I mean. So right now, still the same term, still up there. I'll refresh, get a little refresh going here. And boom. The only times we're seeing the story populate is if it's shared on Instagram, if it's shared on X, but still not seeing the actual article populating within the Google search engine. And that is something that's kind of caught my attention, which I still find really weird because everyone's getting something different when they put this into Google. So I don't really know what is happening. And so I'm just going to be looking into this further, trying to see what is happening. Is this an issue? I mean, I've cleared my cookies. I've cleared my browsing history. I've done everything. See if this was a device issue. I then searched it on my mobile device and it populates. The Western Standard stories are populating on my phone. But then everyone else, from what I'm seeing in the comments, is getting different results. Some people are getting the story. Some people are not getting the story when they search into Google. So what I want you to do right now is take some time, go in the comment section. You see what it says right here. Guilbeault pulls pin on $11 billion Kitimat refinery. Put that into Google. Try it on both your desktop, your laptop, and your phone, and see what happens. We want to see what's going on here. Is this a isolated issue? Is this happening on the widespread? We'd love to know. Tell us what province you're from and what result you get. We'll love to see that in the comments because this is kind of just a weird situation that admittedly I don't have an answer for at the moment. So we'll see what happens. So it could very much be a technical issue that is not being addressed or something weird is happening on the back end of Google. We don't really know. So we'll see what happens going forward. But alas, let's get into what Andrew Scheer did yesterday. As I said, Conservatives are walking by the media. The media is just hoping to get their soundbite. Andrew Scheer makes sure to give them the soundbite they've been desiring.
Downplaying the opioid crisis that is facing that Canadians are suffering from. Nearly 50,000 Canadians have lost their lives. Fathers and mothers have lost children. People have lost siblings as a direct result of the 9 years of Carney Trudeau soft on drugs, soft on crime approach. A direct result of the Carney Trudeau Liberals giving out free opioids, legalizing drug use in public spaces. And to downplay that, to refuse to call it a crisis and just call it a challenge, shows you that he doesn't have to deal with these types of consequences of these policies. He lives in a completely different world. He doesn't have to buy groceries in tough neighborhoods or take public transit. And he made those comments 2 days ago, and yesterday he was in Vancouver, didn't get a single question from the media on this. So why isn't the media holding Mark Carney to account. He's about to become the Prime Minister because a small group of Liberal Party members are going to install him. The least you can do is cover the way he's treating these important issues that are facing Canadians.
Andrew Scheer lets them know. He says, what's up? And that is something that we love to see. I love that he called them out for it. He's talking about the opioid crisis, the issue with fentanyl, and we love that he's addressing it within terms of what's happening within the community. I am looking forward to Conservatives also addressing the issue that China and the threat that China is posing currently within our country. And I know it's baby steps because it's politics and it's just how it works. It stinks, but it's the reality. People who tune into shows like this who are informed and trying to be informed, you are so far ahead of the curve in terms of general knowledge that people have. You've probably experienced this with some of your own friends and your own connections. When you have conversations about deep issues, they're like, I didn't know that was happening. Wait, what's going on? What's happening? I find TikTok is the perfect platform to test out these ideas on. Just the other day, we clipped out a version of what we were chatting about with the fentanyl issue and how we're seeing major crime bosses who are connected to the Liberal Party in some way, shape, or fashion, and photos with Trudeau with people from the United Front at these fundraisers. And it's a lot. And even then, people were in the comments saying, I don't know if I can believe it. Really? This is a far-fetched story. You know, and that's where they were at. It's a fun place to test the reality of what we're facing. So that's it for me. I'm like, I would like for the Conservatives to push more on this, but I understand from a political level, you will alienate the moderates who don't fully pay attention to what's going on. So it's baby steps, soft steps. And this is one of those situations where we're talking about the opioid crisis, which is a crisis that general people can understand and accept that that is happening. And you keep pushing on. You keep pushing the narrative little by little to the point where you're able to explain that, yes, China is directly involved in this. They're pushing this drug in our country. They're money laundering across our country and using our country as a money laundering global hub for cartel, for trafficking across the world. Listen to the words that just came out of my mouth. That is so hard to even believe. Like, I can't believe that those words, I spoke those words, but they're actually happening. So imagine what the reaction is to a normal person. You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy that he pushed on that. And I love that he pushed too on saying, Carney said that this was a challenge, not a crisis, but a challenge. And he made sure to specify that he sees a difference between it being a challenge and a crisis. And then he moved over to BC the next day, and you guys didn't ask him one question about it. This man stands to be the next prime minister of our country, and you didn't ask him one question about one of the biggest crises that we're facing as a country at the moment that is directly tied to tariffs that we potentially are facing. Didn't ask him about it once. Didn't challenge him on it once. Okay, got it. Understood. But I love that Scheer took the opportunity to let them know how he really feels about that very issue. And I think this is going to be a taste. Because today, at about 1 o'clock Eastern, I'm sure it'll be live streamed on YouTube, Poilievre will be launching the rebrand of the Conservative platform. Canada first. And you're going to hear that messaging time and time again, because that's what their focus is going to be moving forward. It's going to be Canada first. I'm getting a feeling that we'll start seeing a lot more of Poilievre in the Conservative Party over the coming weeks after they launch their rebrand here tomorrow, or today, I should say. And that's exciting. We are moving forward in a good, positive direction because now the Conservatives are doing a better job at trying to decipher and change and make a clear distinction that they are different from what the Liberals are offering. Liberals are offering variations of carbon taxes. They're offering more of the same policies that are just being repackaged from Trudeau of 2015. And Conservatives are pushing the Canada First policies, buying more icebreakers for the Arctic to fend off Russia and China, investing resources into handling the drug crisis that is happening at our borders, cutting personal and corporate taxes to get the economy moving in a proper way that's not so artificial, throwing and printing money like crazy, as Carney has suggested he wants to do. Conservatives want to unleash free enterprise in our country, and the Liberals want to quell it. They want to control it. They want to put their fingers in everything. They want to handle it. That is what we're seeing. So it'll be interesting to see what we have moving forward. And what I find really interesting is what's going on with Doug Ford. I know that Doug's in the middle of a campaign, and it feels like he's switched his messaging completely from, I hate Trump, let's go after Trump, to now, I'm going after my federal government, which we know is the right way to go. I'm just curious. I'm curious of where the switch happened. I'm really interested in the conversation his team had with him, because this is only a 12-second clip, but just listen what Ford says here about the federal government.
That, do you believe it or not, the federal government's the largest drug dealer in this country. You can go in and get heroin, you can get anything, and they support it. You can't give it. It's like giving a gambler $1,000.
And I'm sorry for the short clip. I'm not really trying to pull anything out of context purposely. It was just a funny comment to say that the federal government's the biggest drug dealer in our country right now. They support it. They want it. Oh my gosh. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. But it's a big statement to make. That's a big statement to make. As we said, he's not wrong. We see what's going on. They're trying to gaslight us saying it's not happening. But that's the thing with Ford, man. He's a bit of a blunt instrument, but it's effective at times. And this was one of those issues in those times. We're going to be watching Canada-USA hockey tonight. If you're watching the Four Nations, that will be very fun to watch and seeing how that all unravels and the intensity that's going to happen in Montreal tonight. And love it or hate it, whether you are against the reasons it's happening or for the reasons it's happening, this renewed sense of nationalism we're seeing in our country is interesting. We're seeing it on the left and the right. The reasons for it on the right are very different than the reasons we're seeing on the left. But hey, we'll meet them where we can meet them, right? And there was a really cool commercial that I want to end the show off with today. If you haven't seen it yet, it's a Terry Fox commercial with a tragically hip song over it. And it's 2 minutes, but it's a very powerful 2 minutes. And it's something that it really touched me watching it and feeling hope for us as Canadians. And the battle that we have ahead of us, it's an uphill battle, but it's worth fighting to make sure we maintain the Canada that we once knew. Here you go.
There's no simple explanation for anything important any of us do. And yeah, the human tragedy consists in the necessity of living with the consequences under pressure, under pressure. Doesn't matter. Courage, your word, it didn't come, it doesn't matter. Courage, my word, it didn't come, it doesn't matter. Courage.
I've said to people before that I'm going to do my very best to make it. I'm not going to give up, and that's true. But I might not make it. And if I don't make it, the marathon of hope better continue.
That's it. That's the message. We have an uphill battle to climb, but it's a battle that's worth fighting. Have yourselves a good one. I'm out.